Hi, welcome back to another episode of Thinking Inside the Box on Noah's Ark. Today we're going to talk about this recording method called Midside and its corresponding processing in the box. This technique is a little different than other stereo recording methods because it uses the stereo field in a different way. Because typically one tends to think of two channels, a stereo pair of channel, as one left channel and one right channel, right? And a lot of stereo miking techniques are basing themselves on our ear configuration and by placing a pair of microphones in a left-right fashion, such as AB or XY. But Midside thinks of the stereo field in a different way, where it treats one channel as whatever is common on both microphones and the other channel as whatever is different from both microphone signals. So in the studio, you can record using Midside by using only two microphones. So one microphone is typically a cardioid or hypercardioid facing straight towards the sound source. And another mic in figure of 8 or bidirectional mic perpendicular to the sound source with the null point facing the source. So when listening to a recording made in Midside, the sensation tends to be a little different than left-right, and you can get this feeling of discomfort, of a nauseous feeling in the head when the sides are too pronounced compared to the mids. So this is also how stereo imaging plugins work, and this feeling of discomfort is usually a result of too much widening. The first time I heard this kind of discomforting feeling was when I listened to James Taylor's Something in the Way She Moves track from the 1968 debut album. And I believe the vocals were recorded using the mid mic, and the acoustic guitar is picked up by the side mic. So that's why it kind of feels strange when listening to that track. And I wanted to investigate how that stereo imaging was done. A little bit of theory. The mathematical formula to convert from Midside to left-right and vice versa is pretty straightforward. So if you want to convert from Midside to left-right, to get the left signal, you're going to sum the mid signal with the side signal. To get the right signal, you're going to do the difference between the mid signal and the side signal. So, for instance, summing the mid signal with a polarity flipped side signal. To convert from left-right to mid-side, to get the mid signal, you're going to sum the left signal and the right signal together. To get the side signal, you're going to do the difference between the left and the right signal. So basically adding the left with a polarity flipped right signal. So some plugins allow you to process the signal in Midside, and what that does is that it takes your left-right signal, converts it to Midside internally, and then does the processing. And after the processing, it's going to convert that signal back to left-right for you. But what you can do is you can also use your regular stereo plugins in MS, in Midside mode, and I'm going to show you how you can do that in any DAW. So I experimented with a Midside recording technique on an acoustic guitar, and let's see how that translates to left-right in the DAW. So here I am in Pro Tools with an acoustic guitar track that was recorded in MS. So I've got on the first track the mid signal, and on the second track I've got the side signal. So if we listen to this MS signal in traditional hard left, hard right stereo field, this is going to sound very strange. Because basically you have the mid signal on the left and the side signal on the right, which is not what we want. So the first method is to use a MS to left-right matrix. So I've got this free plugin by Goodhertz that make this really simple matrix. So the input is MS, so let's switch that to MS. And then what we want is a left-right output. So let's listen to that now. So this is left-right. This is Midside. So you can really feel that after the matrix, the sound is really centered. But let's say you don't have this plugin, right? So let's put the mid signal back to the center. What you can do is you duplicate the side signal onto another track, and then you add a polarity flipper on that second track. And what it does is, based on our formula, the mid signal is sent to both left and right channels equally, right? So basically, the mid signal is going to sum with the side signal and do the difference with the side signal on the second track, right? So let's listen to that. So that's basically the MS to left-right matrix in here. But let's say we want to now use a stereo compressor like the Neve 33609 in MS mode. And I believe this one doesn't have any MS capabilities. So what we're going to do is therefore unlink the sidechain first. And then what we want to have is two of these matrix plugins, right? So the first one should input LeftRight, the output to MS, right? So now the signal is in Midside mode, and on the output of the compressor, after the processing, you're going to put another matrix that's going to convert it back to LeftRight. So input is MS, and the output comes back to LeftRight, correct? So basically you have the first matrix that converts your LeftRight signal to Midside. You do the processing in the compressor, and then you come out Midside back to LeftRight. So now you can use the 33609. I can compress, more on the mid signal if I want to. But there is a catch though, watch out. The problem with, for example, this plugin is that although the unlink button is there, it's just going to unlink the controls and not the sidechain. So therefore, this compressor is going to compress on both channels based on the lowest threshold of these two controls, right? So it does allow you to still keep the stereo image intact, because if you don't have the sidechain linked, you're going to start to have those weird widening effects that are dynamically correlated with the dynamics of the signal. So that's not really what you want. So that's one of the perks of encoding to MS in your mixes. So there you go, some information on Midside recording technique and its processing in the box. So please like this video if you enjoyed this episode, and subscribe to my channel for other music production and sound engineering videos. And I'll see you next time.